Ladies and gentlemen, I've had a lot of questions today asking about my updated mastery setup, and with the patch we have changed a few things around. Not too much has been altered, but we have gone in a slightly different direction with some of the offensive and utility tree points. So I wanted to make a quick video talking about some of the changes I've made and why I've made them. So the main thing in my updated build is in the defense tree, we've actually no longer invested any points in willpower, and as a result of that, we've also dropped some of the additional stepping stone masteries toward willpower. We've dropped perfect block and also stand your ground, which were mainly used as, stepping stone masteries to get to willpower and increase your power index on champions overall by a little bit, but that doesn't really have like too much of an effect in my opinion. So we dropped those points in the defensive tree as well. We've still kept 4 out of 4 block proficiency. That is pretty much essential now. It was before, but it's a really, really good mastery. We also have Salve. I've always liked Salve. It's one of my favorite masteries. I like the little trickle at the start of every fight heal, and also Recovery. I really like Recovery. I think it's especially decent for bolstering up a lot of the regeneration champions. So, yeah, I really like Recovery. Was very happy to keep some points in there. Now, in regards to the offensive tree, we have pretty much all of the kind of core root masteries like Precision and Cruelty and some of these stepping stone masteries to get to them. We also have 3 out of 3 glass cannon, which we've gone with before. We're not running suicides at the moment because these are still really, really negative in Alliance War and Alliance Quest. They will cause you to take a lot of damage, but suicide masteries, we have talked about this before. They're very good for if you want to do a Legends run or if you are speed grinding arena and need to do like a lot of farming there. But outside of that, in most kind of endgame gameplay, they don't really have a great use in my opinion. Now, we've fully maxed out 3 masteries down the bottom. So we got 3 out of 3 in Despair, 5 out of 5 in Deep Wounds, and 5 out of 5 in Assassin. Now, in regards to Assassin, Assassin is a very, very nice to have mastery. I just want to mention that. It took me a very long time to grind all the units. Just been gradually unlocking like Deep Wounds and Assassin, and also Mystic Dispersion. With pretty much all the units I've earned in game for the last few months. Just occasionally unlocking a node here and there whenever I had some spare ones available. So it took me a while to build up, but by playing the game, by being active in arena and doing various events, you still can get like several thousand units each month. And I believe I haven't updated my unit farming guide in quite a while, but if you want to know how to farm units in game, just check out Brian Grant's guide on how to do it. But basically, it's farm arena until you hate yourself. That is the guide right there. But also occasionally do like the solo events and stuff. But that's pretty much it. They took a while to unload, but anyway, about the masteries themselves, I think Despair, I really like having the utility of that one. I think it's very useful for fighting a lot of different opponents and comes in handy now and again. It's certainly not essential by any standard, but it's very useful in my opinion. I like that one. Deep Wounds, a lot of my favorite characters to play in the game are bleed champions, and Deep Wounds is such an incredible mastery, giving every single bleed in the game an additional 2.5 seconds, so very, very valuable for strong bleeds, and also has great synergy with champions with kind of weaker bleeds that aggressively stack, just making them really, really long, and also has a good synergy with Despair as well, because, the long bleed duration and also reducing healing per debuff. It's pretty good. That's pretty good. And also, the second component of Deep Wounds, if you have more health points than the target, you deal like a burst of additional damage based on their max health. That's not really useful in too many fights. It does speed up the arena grind like a little bit though, but it's mainly for that increased bleed duration. Like, I love bleed champions, so that's not going away anytime soon. And finally, we have Assassin. So I've always been very, very skeptical about Assassin, and I like it. It's a good mastery, but it's not essential. It's a very, very nice to have mastery. It gives you kind of a nice PI boost from what I've seen, and is really, really fun when you can fire off like a couple of finishing hits below 18% health, because it's going to give you a huge amount of additional damage, increases your attack by 60%, and also will reduce defensive ability accuracy by 20%. So in some scenarios, this may allow you to bypass, like if you're farming arena, maybe like Iron Man's Arc Overload or Iron Patriots or anything that might trigger below 18%. So yeah, Assassin isn't too bad. It's a very nice to have mastery at the moment. But I like it. I like it. I think it's going to be very useful for a certain number of fights come Act 5. And then finally in the utility tree, now we kind of have all of the core masteries over here. We have stuff like Stupefy as well as kind of Evade and Parry, and also we've gone 3 out of 3 Petrify now. We didn't have that before. But now that I've removed the points in willpower, we've got a few extra points to play around with. So we decided to do 3 out of 3 that one as well, because reducing the enemy power gain is somewhat useful when stunned in certain circumstances. So yeah, I don't mind that mastery at all. And then finally, at the moment, I have 5 out of 5 Mystic Dispersion. Now, it's pretty crazy. I think that's going to make any Mystic characters that I have in Alliance War Defense are just absolute gods at the moment. Granted, like, I haven't been able to properly play around with it and test it with some of my my Mystic characters since the patch, but it's very, very aggressive. So basically, every time a enemy beneficial effect expires, one of my champions gains 12% power, and that, you know, expiry is if you like nullify it, for example, then I'll instantly get that burst of 12% power. And it's really good, it's really useful. Some fights like Wolverine, where you can relatively control it with a regeneration and just keep on like returning with level 2s, or maybe a Scarlet Witch. It's pretty decent. Sometimes it's a little bit annoying though, because for most champions, it's a case of the level 2 does a lot more damage than the level 3, and sometimes if, you know, multiple buffs are expiring at the same time, it might just quickly push you up to that level 3, because it's a lot of power there. So I think I'm not too sure if I'm going to keep 5 out of 5 Mystic Dispersion. It's something I've been thinking about. I'm still playing around with it, but I think kind of moving forward with this mastery, I'm probably going to drop down maybe to 3 or 4. I might drop down to 4 and play around with that. But I think, you know, if you have a really strong like Mystic Defender team, then definitely 5 out of 5, because that's going to be absolutely insane for Alliance War Defense. But at the moment, I haven't really built up that team for defense. I got some fairly mediocre Mystic champions, so I'm thinking about where to kind of like chuck those points. And I guess there are a couple of options. I could put some more points in Pierce there. I could put a couple of points in Courage. I think Pure Skill as well is a bit of an interesting one. I'm not really too sure the effectiveness of this mastery kind of since the update, but I heard very, very good things about it kind of pre-patch 12.0, so it's something I need to do a little bit of testing on. So yeah, I think there's a lot of different directions that I could potentially go with a couple of points there, but overall, kind of that's the basics of my thoughts and opinions on some of the masteries at the moment. I hope that this video was helpful and showed you kind of what I'm thinking and playing around with at the moment. If you enjoyed this video, ladies and gentlemen, feel free to leave a like. That'd be greatly appreciated. Apart from that, thank you for watching. Take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.